What is up guys, it's I'm here, back with another classic WoW video. So let's address the title of this video real quick. Yes, I am returning to TBC Classic. I've been making a couple of TBC videos here and there lately, but it's time to go all in on TBC Classic, as I have really just had a lot of fun playing TBC Classic lately. With Wrath of the Lich King on the horizon, or coming out sooner or later, I also feel like now is the time to start playing TBC Classic again, level up some alts, farm up some gold, skill up my professions, and ultimately just progress within TBC, to prepare myself for Wrath. There's also a lot of new content in TBC that has drawn a lot of people or players back into the game, like we just had the release of Black Temple, arguably the most iconic TBC raid, and we also had the launch of Mount Hyjal, and also Netherwing Drakes. There's simply so much to do in TBC Classic right now, it genuinely feels fantastic, and the upcoming patches, or phases, will just keep adding exciting content, making the game even better, so from here on until Wrath, it's going to be an incredibly fun journey. So let's address the title more specifically. Yes, I am returning to TBC Classic, and I want to ask you guys, what type of content do you want to see? Are you interested in gold farming videos? Are you interested in raiding videos, theory crafting within raiding or PvP, dungeon videos, video guides, leveling videos, population videos where I talk about the population of different servers in TBC, or botting videos where I talk about and expose bots in TBC, or anything else? Let me know in the comments down below. Your feedback will be incredibly important regarding future videos coming on this channel. So let's talk a little bit about why I'm returning to TBC Classic, and why I quit in the first place. Let's start with why I'm returning, and then we will progress that conversation into why I quit, because parts of why I quit is also why I'm returning, funnily enough. So, wow. So for the past couple of months, actually since around October, I have been hard focusing on Season of Mastery content. The thought of fresh vanilla WoW was honestly so exciting to me. There's just something about the general feeling of vanilla WoW that always gets me excited. You know, the open world feeling, the entire world feeling alive, having so many different zones that are all incredibly relevant, no matter what level you are. Like for example, when you're level 60, you still have a reason to go out to Feralas or Stranglethorn Vale or Arathi Highlands, or even zones such as Duskwood, whether that is to farm for gold or skill up professions, or do anything else productive. You will oftentimes see max level characters in low level zones in vanilla WoW. You will see level 60s farming for elemental fires in Arathi Highlands, you will see level 60s farming for elemental earth in Badlands, and you will even see level 60s farming for golden pearls in Swamp of Sorrows. And to me, having a huge open world like that, where every zone is relevant even at max level, is exactly what a MMORPG should be like. On the other hand, you have TBC and pretty much every expansion after that, where they always add anywhere between 3 and 8 new zones, and always rendering old zones almost useless. Like in TBC right now, there's almost no reason to go back to Kalimdor or Eastern Kingdoms unless you're leveling up your first character, or maybe leveling up an alt, but for your main level 70 characters, how often do you actually go back to Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms? Speaking of leveling, that is another huge part of MMORPGs in my opinion. The leveling up aspect is a huge part of the gameplay itself. It is where you learn about the game, you experience how huge the world actually is, and it's when you learn to play your class and get better over time. And it is also where you will make a lot of friends, leveling up and grouping up for elite quests or even dungeon quests. TBC Classic once again rendered that part almost useless as well by introducing their paid level 58 boost, where you can now pay to get a character instantly at level 58, cutting out a huge part of the game itself, once again cutting out where you will learn about your class and experience the world and make friends in the game. Sure, it gets you to end the game faster, but it also cuts out a huge chunk of the game itself, which probably leads to you quitting even faster. And if Blizzard had some actual statistics on this, I would be willing to bet serious amounts of money that a bigger percentage of those who bought level 58 boost actually quit TBC early than those who actually leveled up their characters from level 1. Leveling up from level 1 creates a spiritual bond with your character. Everything you do and everything you achieve feels so much more rewarding, and you feel like you get so much more back from your character. Speaking of rewarding, that is another reason why I'm returning to TBC Classic instead of still playing Season of Mastery. One major reason why I'm playing MMORPGs in general is that the things you achieve will always have value, and you can do things right now that you can still and will still be thankful for 10 years into the future, and to me, Season of Mastery is lacking a huge part of that. First off, we just had Classic WoW set in the vanilla universe, like we were just raiding Noxramas about half a year ago, when Season of Mastery launched. I think it came out way too early. Number 2 is that once Season of Mastery is over, your progression is pretty much wiped out. Your characters are transferred to Classic Era, which is basically just a dead realm, which we can refer to as trophy realms. It's where you can log in and look at your character, but there's not much gameplay and barely anyone to play with, because of the general lack of interest. I think you would see a whole lot more people playing Season of Mastery if those characters were transferred over to progression servers after the season was over, instead of being transferred over to Classic Era, and that is a huge part of why I'm returning to TBC Classic right now, knowing that what I do right now, and the progress I'm making right now, will carry on with me into the future. After TBC, there's not a TBC era, or I guess there could be, but even then we can be 95% sure that our TBC characters also progress into Wrath of the Lich King, and potential future expansions in the Classic WoW universe as well, and knowing that my characters will stay into the next expansion just reassures me that the progress that I'm making right now actually matters long term. I also want to say that seeing the huge rise of TBC after the launch of Black Temple has also made me even more hyped to come back to TBC Classic, knowing that there actually is an active community to return to, and I would argue that right now TBC is possibly more active than it has ever been, at least if you exclude the first 2 weeks of the actual launch itself, because it is actually booming right now. One last thing I want to talk about is raiding in TBC. I think raiding is a huge element of Classic WoW. I mean, I guess we can take a look at some actual statistics here. So, for the most popular EU server, which is Firemaw, there's a total of 35,409 people registered on ironforge.pro this week, and this is just people that upload their logs to Warcraft logs. The actual number of raiders is probably a little bit bigger and closer to 40,000 as well. I did a scan online very recently on Firemaw on a Saturday between 4 PM and 8 PM, and ended up getting around 8,000 players on the Alliance side currently online, while there's 19,700 raiders registered this week on the Alliance side on Firemaw, so raiding is definitely a big deal in Classic WoW, and especially in TBC Classic. Back to my point though, right now is when raiding actually starts, in my opinion. Black Temple is arguably the most iconic raid in WoW's history, and we also have the Mount Hyjal raid in this current phase. Everything up to this point has been boring and grindy raids, and now is when the fun starts, in my opinion. Black Temple, Suleiman, and Sunwell Plateau are the absolute peak of TBC raiding, in my opinion once again, and I can't wait to experience all of them. I did try some Karasan that got boring real quick, and I honestly just skipped through the entirety of Serpentine Cavern and Tempest Keep, and I'm honestly glad that I did, because throughout that raid here, both my raiding guilds disbanded because everyone got burnt out. So let's talk about one more thing. One major reason why I quit TBC Classic was Blizzard's inability to deal with botting. I am happy to say that while it's not completely fixed, based on all the research I have been doing lately, they are at least trying. Many of the bots I have shown in my videos and reported repeatedly have actually gotten banned now in TBC Classic, and when I go back to popular botting locations, there's way less bots over there. Having spoken to multiple bot developers and bot users, I can also verify that more bots have actually gotten banned lately, or at least they are more vocal about it now, as they are showing me screenshots of them being banned after using certain botting programs. And I have also heard of specific botting softwares being targeted by Blizzard, to where they basically shut down anyone that is caught using that software. I do think the fight against botting is going to be a never-ending one, but personally I would love more vocal activity from Blizzard, like telling us what they are doing and maybe a weekly ban report, showing how many bots they have banned that week, and maybe include some screenshots or some sort of proof, so we know they don't just make up a number. And I also think it's part up to us, the players, to keep reporting the bots, but in order for that to work, we also need to know that Blizzard are taking player reports seriously, where once again communication would definitely improve the whole situation. All in all, I am excited to return to TBC Classic, and once again, I would love to hear what kind of videos you want to see from me in the future, so let me know in the comments down below. Also, if I sounded any different in this video than my usual monotone voice, it is because I actually have COVID right now, and by the time you are seeing this video, it should be my last day of isolation, so it should be all good, but if any of you are playing a healer, then please decurse me, and buff me with stamina. Alright, that's pretty much it, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.